Hello, Zanzi. Welcome back to Farmers Inside Track, Food from Zanzi's podcast in partnership with Pannar Seed. I'm your host, Lisa Kanya-Vin. Today, we're discussing how farmers can build resilience in the face of climate variability, from drought and erratic rainfall to hybrid selection, agronomy best practices, precision agriculture, and water management. Joining me is Bruyn Myburgh, agronomy manager at Pannar Seed with more than 11 years of experience in the field. Bruyn, welcome to Farmers Inside Track. Just to kick it off, farmers are experiencing increasingly erratic rainfall patterns. How is this changing the way we need to think about crop production today?
Traditionally, farmers planned around relative predictable seasons and rainfall patterns, but today we often receive the same amount of rainfall, but it arises in fewer amounts, and sometimes these are events, when they come, they are very intense too. And then they're also followed by some very extended dry periods. This means that we no longer focus only on total rainfall, but we have to move our focus to capturing, storing, and effectively using this millimeters that's fallen over the season. Crop production now requires greater emphasis on resilience, flexibility, and risk management rather than maximizing your yield only.
Would you then say unpredictability has now become a bigger risk than drought itself?
Yes, farmers can plan for drought if they know it is coming, but unpredictability in weather makes the management of weather conditions more difficult. Variability then in planting windows, uneven crop establishment, nutrient losses from heavy rainfall events, and prolonged dry spells between rains increase more production risk. Unpredictability creates uncertainty throughout the season, which often has a greater impact on profitability than drought itself.
And when it comes to impact on crops and farming systems, from an agronomic perspective, what are the most critical risks drought and uneven rainfall pose to crops like maize?
The biggest risks include poor germination or emergence, reduced root development. Nutrient uptake is limited because of not enough moisture within the soil. Increased stress during certain critical stages like flowering and the grainful stage. So water stress is a critical component in your productivity. Even if rain improves later in the season, in some phases of the plant, it's definitely more needed than later. So uneven rainfall can then cause more critical problems in the crop production system.
How do these conditions specifically affect yield potential during key growth stages?
Like mentioned previously, there are sensitive stages within the maize crop. These ones are flowering and pollination. Drought conditions or stress conditions during this period reduces pollen viability, silk emergence, kernel set, and then that leads up to major yield losses. Water stress also during the grain filling stage can also reduce kernel weight and ultimately lower your final yield. So once yield potential is lost during these critical stages, it's very difficult to recover that yield very late in the season.
Bruyn, when it comes to the role of hybrids and seed genetics, what role do seed genetics and hybrid selection play in building climate resilience on farms?
Genetics are one of the most important tools available to a farmer because they determine a crop potential response to stress. Modern hybrids are bred to perform more consistently across a wide range of environmental conditions. So selecting the correct hybrid allows farmers to reduce their risk and achieve a more stable yields despite seasonal variability.
And what key traits should farmers prioritize when it comes to selecting hybrids in drought-prone or maybe highly variable environments?
Farmers should look for a couple of key factors, and I'm going to list them for you. So stable performance across multiple seasons and locations from a trial point of view would be my first choice. Within those trials, proven drought tolerances do come through. If you can select products with strong rooting systems, good standability, efficiently water utilization, products with strong disease resilience or resistance, and constant yields even under stressed conditions, would be the crops that I would consider, or hybrids I would consider selecting when looking at variability in seasons. I would rather not choose the top-end high-yielding hybrids, as they are also very prone to these highly variable conditions.
Can farmers realistically build resilience through hybrid choice alone, or does it perhaps require a full system approach?
Hybrid selection is critical, yes, but it's one component of resilience. Genetics provide the foundation, but success comes from combining good hybrids with sound agronomy practices, healthy soil, appropriate fertilization, conservation practices where it is applicable. And then one of the other most important aspects too is data-driven management input. Climate resilience is ultimately a system approach, not a one-point approach.
I'd like us to shift a bit and talk about agronomy and management practices, right? So beyond seed, what are the most important agronomic practices farmers should focus on to improve resilience?
I think there's going to be a couple of points that one can look at, but some of them that have proven highly effective is conservation agriculture or minimum tillage. In some cases where farmers can maintain their crop residue over their soils, it's also been proven highly effective to conserve moisture or build resilience. Even improving soil organic matter has also proven to build resilience in soils. Plant population and selecting the hybrids fittingly for the populations also proven highly effective. And then crop rotation as well has also proven as a resilient effect to climate variability. And I think one that should not be forgotten too is also effective weed control, as weeds can also take a bit of moisture and resources from the crop intended to plant. So these key aspects is some of the points I would think about when one needs to conserve more soil moisture and improve your crop performance under stress conditions.
And how critical is soil health in terms of helping crops withstand drought and erratic rainfall?
Soil health is fundamental. Healthy soils with high organic matter improve water infiltration and water holding capacity and root development as well. In many cases, the ability of a soil to retain more moisture between different rainfall events can determine a crop to survive or dry out and then cause very significant yield loss. So soil health is one of the most important long-term investments farmers can definitely make.
What role does planting timing and crop management play when rainfall becomes less predictable?
Plant timing or planting date. Timing has become increasingly important. Farmers need to use weather forecast, soil moisture information, local experience to optimize their planting decisions. Flexibility is also therefore key. In some years, adjusting your planting date and maybe adjusting your hybrid maturities from a planting date and planting population perspective, it can significantly reduce your risk and improve overall crop performance.
When it comes to precision agriculture and data, how can it help farmers better manage climate variability and improve decision making?
Precision agriculture allows a farmer to move from a reactive management approach to a proactive management by integrating yield maps, weather data, soil analysis, satellite images, variable technologies on your planters and spreaders and even sprayers nowadays. Farmers can identify the risk area by that application, optimize their inputs, and therefore also improve water use efficiency, and can make more informed decisions throughout the season when they utilize these precision agricultural equipment or data tools.
By the look of things, are farmers making full use of yield data, weather data, and even soil information just to mitigate climate risks, or is there still a gap there?
I think there's still a bit of a gap. Many farmers collect a large amount of data or information, but transforming that data into actionable management decisions, I think, remains the biggest challenge. The greatest opportunity does not lie in collecting the data, but rather integrating the available data that you have into practical decisions around your hybrids, fertility, and that will overall mitigate a bit of risk too.
And Bruyn, when it comes to water management and efficiency in a water-constrained environment, What practical steps can farmers take to improve water use efficiency?
Farmers can improve water use efficiency through soil moisture monitoring. In some cases, there are good services available to monitor the soil available water content throughout the season. Then there's improved irrigation scheduling services too that one can look at if you're an irrigation-driven farmer. Conservation tillage definitely is something to look for. Residue management or retention improves soil moisture content from a loss perspective. Reducing runoff when those big storms come also help to be effective in the water that comes through the season. Improving, like I said, soil organic matter also improves that water efficiency aspect. And then selecting drought adaptable hybrids also can be another aspect of efficiency. The object is to ensure that every millimeter of water contributes to your overall crop yield and growth.
Looking ahead, do you believe South African farmers are adapting quickly enough to increase climate variability, or are we still reactive rather than proactive?
South African farmers are among the most innovative farmers in the world and have made significant progress in adaptability to climate challenges, in my opinion. However, there are still areas where there is greater adoption of precision agriculture can be utilized. And even soil health programs to improve overall soil health can be adopted too. And I think data-driven decisions can also build resilience within the farming practice. As an industry, we are moving in the right direction, but I think continuing investment, innovation, and adaptation into newer technologies will be essential.
And lastly, Bruyn, if you could give farmers just one priority action to improve resilience ahead of the next season, what would it be?
If you're in a farmer's shoe, I would focus on understanding the variability within your own fields and managing them accordingly, whether it's by soil testing or yield analysis methods, or even just doing hybrid placement trials, or improving your soil health. Farmers who understand and manage variability best will be the most resilient in the increasingly unpredictability climate that we are seeing in our current situation. So I think resilience for me starts with informed decision making. That's where the key component is.
Bruyn Myburgh, thank you for your time and for sharing your valuable insights with us. You've been listening to Farmers Inside Track, Food from Mzansi's podcast in partnership with Pannar Seed. I'm Lisakhanya Vena. Thank you for listening.